What is the realistic expectation of the relation between blockchain and, quote unquote, the truth? Given overhype of expectations for immutability, verifiability, and almost mystical certainty, could blockchain be a likely tool for deception, propaganda, and framing innocence? It's a big question. Can this technology be subverted? It is supposed to be something that really does help us create a better, fairer society. Can it be subverted?
The answer has to be yes, because it doesn't mean it will happen, but the original promise of the internet, when it started to be commercialized, was that, you know, business interests would coexist with what's best for humanity. And I was there. So I was a kid. I was like 19, 20 when that was happening. And I remember reading all of the same things about how transformational, and it's not that it wasn't, but there are 3 companies that own the whole internet. Let's not bullshit each other. Like, that's the reality. 3 companies in the United States, and then a bunch in China that are government controlled probably also. So this idea that this is some innovation that won't be controlled by 3 gigantic corporate interests or 2 governments, I think it's sadly a little bit naive, and I would love to be wrong about that, and it'll take a while before we know if I'm wrong or right, but I'm just saying that that's a legitimate risk, and the disruption hippies don't like that because, you know, a lot, and I get it. I was once one of them, so, but so that's number one, and then number 2, I mean, this Shakespeare, what has been done can be undone. Anything mankind has ever made is able to be destroyed by mankind. Like, this is not an act of nature. This is not the Cambrian explosion where all these species are coming out of the rock. That's not what's going on. This is man-made stuff, and there's no way that you could definitively say man can't destroy it. Now, we may not. That would be the good news. But maybe I'm too skeptical, but that's just my take.
Are you jumping out of your chair to answer this one, Mike? I'm not kidding you. Mike was literally like,
I wanted because I think it's actually, because do you guys know there's a book on sale? It is something that we're trying to round out this book with, and that is, I agree with Josh, right? The bottom line is, it is a technology that gives you this sense of permanence, this supposedly much greater security around the stuff that you're building. But the fundamental problem human beings have always made is to invest all of that hope in some sort of magic solution. That's exactly what gave us the 2008 crisis. This idea that we had this magical way to control risk, and now these CDOs would forever banish risk from mortgages. And so the very fact of believing that the blockchain is a magical utopian thing is problematic in itself. It doesn't mean it's not an amazing technology. It doesn't mean that this is incredibly more secure. But the last thing you want is to approach this from this sort of very sort of utopian perspective. And the reason why this matters, and this is my little preachy thing here, is because we want this book to be a message to everybody to get involved in the development of this technology, because we're all going to be affected by it. We can't let, with all due respect to Joe, who has all the right intentions, we can't let a little narrow pool of nerdy developers run this. This matters for everybody, right? This is potentially the governance system. I said that with love in my heart, Joe. Come on. I mean, I love nerds. My daughter is a nerd.
And by the way, speaking from Wall Street, definitely don't let us take over.
No, absolutely. They're the ones I really worry most about.
Believe me, be more worried about me than Joe.
The idea of like a consortium of 16 banks creating their own permissioned blockchain, you think are too big to fail bank is a problem. Imagine a too big to fail blockchain, right? So we need to think about what the governance structure of this system is, where the algorithms are being developed, what they matter, and have that sufficient layer of skepticism so that we actually do what's right for humanity. So this is a very, very important question. I'm very happy that it was asked.
Yeah, from Mike Casey.
The nerds are fighting back.
The nerd rebuttal.
Yeah, so Michael, I do agree with you to a certain extent, but some of that was a little depressing, and I figured I should get out of my chair and say something. So I feel like the internet had tremendous promise for decentralizing things, and because the top-down command and control infrastructure that's available within countries to companies enabled that explosion in technology to enable small groups of people to pile value higher and higher than we've ever seen before. And so that sort of infrastructure, top-down command and control, is the appropriate infrastructure for building systems when communication is slow and expensive, and therefore decision-making is difficult. But we have these new communication networks. We have a technology that enables actors on a shared platform, even if up to half of them are malicious, they can still come to a good decision repeatedly, every 10 minutes in Bitcoin, every 15 seconds in Ethereum, and much more quickly. So if we start to use the organizing principle of communication and consensus formation, we can distribute governance, we can share governance, we can share how we make decisions, and ideally we can build open platforms that deliver value to consumers that are broadly owned and broadly trusted. And so I think there's a little bit of hope if we listen to the nerds and we bring in all of the other actors, academics, and financial interests. We can build better systems this time, hopefully.